Good morning. Today is the convening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. It is May the 7th, 2026, approximately 10:01 a.m. I'm Jordan Maynard. I serve as chair. It's meeting number 588. We're holding it virtually, so we will do a roll call. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning. I'm here.
Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Good morning. I am here.
Good morning, Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning.
And good morning, Commissioner Broder.
Good morning.
All right, so we're going to turn it over to you first, Secretary Broder, for some minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have for the consideration of the commission the minutes from October 9th, 2026, and I move that the commission approve those minutes from April 9th, 2026, as appearing in the commissioner's packet and subject to discussion here today, subject as always to revisions for typographical errors or other non-material matters.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you to the legal team for those minutes. With that, we're already to item number 3, and that is the Director of Research and Responsible Gaming, Mark Vanderlinden. There's Dr. Andrews. Mark on.
I don't see him on.
We'll give him just a second. I hear some doors opening and closing in the hallways.
He is here, so, in the building, not he's here online.
We'll give him just a second to join.
And Commissioner Maynard, this is Dr. Lewis from the BU team. If Mark is not able to join us, I'm ready to jump in whenever that is.
Here he is.
Hey, I'm sorry about that.
No problem.
Great. And so I was going to turn it over to Dr. Andrews to introduce Christopher and the BU project. Bonnie?
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you. It is wonderful to be here today and get to introduce this next presentation. In October 2025, the Massachusetts Gaming Commission entered into a contract with the Boston University School of Public Health to carry out a multi-year research project to investigate the social and economic impacts of casino gaming and sports wagering in the Commonwealth. This project includes 6 aims. Aims 1 through 3 focus on the overall and social impacts of sports and casino gambling on individuals, families, and communities in Massachusetts. And aims 4 through 6 focus on the economic impacts of sports wagering and casinos. Aim 2 of this project involves conducting and analyzing large-scale survey data from college and university students to assess gambling behaviors and attitudes and understand relationships with other key factors. This data comes from the Healthy Minds Survey, the largest and most comprehensive ongoing behavioral health survey of U.S. college students. In academic year 2024-25, 3 pilot questions on gambling were added to the survey. Data was collected from students at 8 Massachusetts schools, which to the team's knowledge is the largest scale survey of college student gambling in the Commonwealth. I am incredibly excited to introduce Dr. Chris Lewis of the Boston University School of Public Health, who's a clinical professor of health law, policy, and management, and the principal investigator of this research, to talk more about the BU team, the research, and particularly initial data from the Healthy Minds study. So I will turn it over to him.
Thanks, Dr. Andrews. And thank you to the Commission for the opportunity to present today. Just give me a second while I share my screen and pull up our slides here.
Okay.
Yep, hold on one second, just trying to get the slides pulled up for you all. There we go. Just let me know if you can see the presentation on the screen at this point. Is that a yes? Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you
Yes.
so much. Well, thank you all very much for the opportunity to present today. We're delighted to be bringing you what I like to think of as really a precursor to a series of presentations over the course of the next 3 years that will allow us to offer you all a glimpse as to just what we can do with this social and economic research study. We are, as Bonnie had said, working on 6 aims, and the the team is full of individuals who have research experience and practical experience across a number of different domains, which I will talk a little bit about in a second. But again, I want to recognize a number of my team members who are here today and show you all a little bit about the aims. So aim 1, which we are going to be launching over the course of the next several months, is a large statewide survey of Massachusetts residents led by Professor Tim Callahan. Aim 2, which we're going to be starting to talk about today, which is a college student gambling behaviors study using the Healthy Minds survey data. Dr. Sarah Lipson is not able to be with us today, but she is the one who is leading that effort. She's on maternity leave, and we're happy to say that she has a 1-week-old as of today. So Sarah will not be with us today. Aim 3 is led by Drs. Mata as well as Dr. Ross. And they're going to be looking at gambling advertising exposure using the Media Radar data, and looking forward to understanding more about media exposure as well as content moving forward. Aims 4, 5, and 6 are going to be led by Drs. White and Schaefer, and we're going to be looking at the economic impacts of gambling on the Commonwealth, and specifically casino gambling and sports wagering, looking at causal impacts of casinos on county level employment, wages, and finances, as well as doing some analysis, which is, to my knowledge, the first of its kind on the association of sports wagering with financial well-being and social needs. I also want to acknowledge the support staff that we have for this project and some of our advisory groups. So hired primarily and solely for this project is Samita Kaladindi. She is a research data analyst who has been great. She's been with us since January and has been really helping us with the preliminary analyses that we've been doing. We also have Kara McGann, who is a member of the research operations team here at BUSPH. We have excellent project management support from the Health Collab, who is our service-disabled veteran-owned business. And Aaron Holman and Sean Lundy are team members who are working with us to help make sure that all of these aims, we can keep all the pieces together. I also want to acknowledge our 2 advisory groups, our expert advisory group, which is comprised of people from all over the nation who are helping drive the information and the questions and oversee some of the more theoretical and conceptual pieces of our studies. And then finally, we have a group of community advisors who serve as our voice from the field, from the community on all these issues. And if at any point anyone has questions or anything, just feel to chime in, and I'm happy to stop as I go through, but also happy to take questions at the end. Over the course of the next 3 years, we are going to be covering a lot of topics. Just to give you really a survey of all those. As we're talking about today, youth and college student gambling. Going to be talking a little bit more about gambling, advertising, and marketing in the future, problem gambling and mental health, financial well-being and social needs, prediction markets, which we've added into as some of the questions into the larger survey of Massachusetts residents. Obviously, the economic impacts of gambling, as we talked about, AI and gambling, iGaming, and online gambling habits as well. So these are some of the topics that over the course of the next 3 years, we're going to be delving a little deeper into. For today, though, we are going to focus primarily on the preliminary or the pilot results that we have back from the Healthy Minds study. The Healthy Minds study is the largest and most comprehensive study or survey of behavioral health of U.S. college students. We're very lucky to have Dr. Sarah Lipson on our research team, and she is in close proximity to the data and has been working with it for years. Before we started this contract, we were interested in these topics. And so we added 3 questions into the survey that we'll talk about on the next slide, but a little more about the Healthy Minds survey. Nationally, it has over 750 colleges and universities, including community colleges and MSIs. Recently, it had over 950,000 college student respondents across the country. Dr. Sarah Lipson, Eisenberg, Heinze, and Joe are the primary principal investigators, and the study is based at BUSPH, Michigan, and UCLA. It includes random samples recruited from participating schools. Schools opt into this across the country, and it's done via online survey through Qualtrics. The college population is very important to understanding trends and patterns of behavior for a number of reasons. Number one, age. It's a very important age to understand what's going on with youth, young adults, and people who are early in their or continued in their development, both from a clinical as well as a mental health perspective. Treatment delays, the prevalence of burden of various different types of diseases and patterns. And colleges and universities offer unique opportunities for prevention and interventions. So among these topics that are reported here, one of the things that's really unique about this group is that they are impressionable. And and for some of them, it's the first time that they've had this newfound autonomy to make their own decisions, to find new friends, to engage in new behaviors that mom and dad aren't, and family members aren't hovering over them at this point. So higher education is designed to understand and address complex challenges, and its leaders have the opportunity to improve how we support the mental health and well-being of our students. So in our pilot data, last academic year, 24-25, we collected data from 8 Massachusetts schools, as Dr. Andrews said earlier. And to our knowledge, this is the largest survey or the largest number of students who have participated in a similar survey across Massachusetts, specifically answering gambling questions.
Chris, can I interrupt that?
Yep. Do you have a question?
I do. Paul Brewer, one of the commissioners. How were the 8 colleges and universities chosen? I'm wondering if there's a public-private mix.
Yes, sure. So great question. So the Healthy Minds study staff and investigators reached out to every college and university that they had contact information for in the Commonwealth, sent multiple, outreach emails, and they voluntarily enroll for the survey. So they may have been participants over the years, or these may be new participants. It's hard to say at this point. I know for next year, not to bury my lead, but next year we already have 9 that are signed up, as well as multiple outreach points ready for the next couple of months before the survey launches in the fall.
And you expect, is the solicitation ongoing until the fall?
That's correct.
Participants? Got it. Thank you.
That's correct. Yep. And we usually start with college presidents, start with senior level student related or student facing leaders at the universities, provosts, things like that, people like that. So in the 24-25 survey, we asked 3 questions. Have you ever participated in sports betting? How often have you used online sportsbook apps, such as FanDuel and DraftKings? And then self-control measures, questions that are around, I feel like sports betting controls my life, and I have no problem setting limits. Now, before we go any further, I want to talk a little bit about what the Healthy Minds survey actually includes. It has, and especially for the Massachusetts schools. So all schools that participated in this survey get multiple modules that are required. They include demographics, mental health status, and mental health service utilization. From there is about 10 additional modules that they can choose from. And those are at the request of the individual schools. In our survey, the gambling questions are added to the mental health status part of the survey. So in next year, every Massachusetts school will get our expanded battery of 16 items as we move forward. And I'm happy to share with you all more about those topics. Next year, not in the 24-25 survey, but the 26-27 survey, we're going to be asking about sports betting, gambling frequency, alcohol and gambling, age at first gambled, when a person first gambled, whether they were assisted in gambling or used someone else's login to gamble, advertising exposure, gambling spending, chasing losses, gambling in isolation, mental health, work and school problems, lying about gambling, and relational problems. So there are a number of.
Can I-
Yep, please
Can
go
I
ahead.
ask this, Commissioner O'Brien? Are you also going to ask about marijuana use in addition to alcohol use?
So marijuana use is included in the other questions that are required of all respondents. Yep, that's right.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, and vaping and other illicit drugs as well. So what we have is currently we have 3 questions, and then we have other parts of the survey that we're looking against that I'm going to show you results on in just a second. We have this analysis, which we're showing you today, the results of, as well as next year's expanded 16-item battery of questions. Okay, let's dig in. If you notice the first thing that's striking, I'm going to go right to the national sample. We have 25,000 usable responses from the national sample and approximately 4,000 from Massachusetts. We actually had about 10,000 respondents in Massachusetts, but once you split the sample and then eliminate the individuals who had missing data, we had almost 4,000. So that's quite a bit for an initial run of the data, pilot look at this across the 8 schools. What we noticed is that being male and binge drinking across both samples, they have a higher odds or they're more likely to bet on sports. Then in the national sample, we see these lower likelihoods across low campus belonging or feeling like they don't belong, higher financial stress, and any drug use. We do note that we don't see the same trends for the Massachusetts schools, but we're interested in looking deeper at this in the next study, next iteration of the study. When we look only at the Massachusetts sample, we can split it by males and females. As you notice here, the females are about 2 to 1 in terms of the actual respondents. Now that is a reflection both on trends in higher education. More females are typically respondent to surveys such as this. At the same time, there are more females in college than males. Binge drinking comes out on both sides of this in Massachusetts college students. Specifically for females, there's almost a 300% higher odds of binge drinking for those that sports bet. In males, it's almost 200%. From there, some interesting patterns emerge based on females and males. So for the females, we find that feeling disconnected from campus gives them a higher odds of gambling, as well as part-time enrollment and having any mental health problem. For males, having childhood financial stress is a predictor of 32% higher odds of sports betting. And then we find some protective associations, or actually some things that may actually be interesting to look at further, I would say. So having low confidence in finishing your academic program is actually associated with lower odds, 79% lower odds of betting. Similar trends for loneliness. So what we find is that betting among women looks more connected to present day strain, or including financial stress or mental health challenges, and a weaker connection to campus. While men, it looks like it's less tied to current distress and more linked to childhood financial stress, lower loneliness. So this may suggest a social pattern among males. At the same time, there may also be an element of narcissism in there, which is also something that the research shows us, that sports betting, the ability, I'm always going to win, I'm always going to dig out of this. The same patterns may be there for the low confidence in finishing an academic program. Something to look further into.
Can I?
Sure.
So can I ask Commissioner O'Brien again? The 32% higher odds childhood financial stress, was there no indicator of impact on female students, or was it just significantly lower for the females?
So that's a great question. It was not significant, so it didn't rise to the level of being able to be
Not
noted.
statistically significant. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Now the numbers here may be striking. I want to temper those results. Here we're looking at, of the respondents to the survey who reported that they used online sportsbook apps. Okay. So when you look at the ends, we're significantly smaller here. So they had to suggest that yes, they bet, and then yes, they have used sportsbook apps. Okay. So yes to both of those questions. And then when you look at it, you're trying to understand what percentage of those students were under the age of 21. And the reason I don't want this to be a headline is because in the national sample, there are a number of states where it's legal to bet under 21. So skewing the results may be the fact that, for example, in Rhode Island, you can bet at 18. So some of these students may take the survey being at a college in Massachusetts or at a college in some other state, but they may have gambled and done that in Rhode Island. So just want to temper that. But the finding here is really that 1 out of 3 respondents that fell into these categories nationally are under 21 and betting online, as well as in Massachusetts, about 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 under 21 are betting. So we can come back yep, go ahead.
No, this is Jordan. Does this include legal sports books, illegal sports books, and prediction markets? Did you break those out, or is it just one set?
So it does not. So it is a general question that asks whether they have bet online. And then what we did was we went and looked back at a different part of the survey to get their age, where they provided demographics. So we are pulling that correlation from that. In the next iteration of the survey, we asked specifically about, or we asked more in depth about prediction markets and some of the questions as to whether they have their gambling frequency on those things. So we'll be able to delve deeper into what types of modalities or modes or DraftKings, FanDuel, et cetera, are they actually using?
And I don't want to get ahead of you, but are we also looking at, or will we look at the proxy betting issue? How many of these folks are accessing this through proxy wagering?
Yes, so that's going to be in the next iteration of the survey. Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And among students who already bet, Sportsbook app users are a high-risk group. Drug use, campus disconnection, substance use, they all independently predict who's going to use sports betting apps. So here and now we're consolidating the sample again. All this is for all Massachusetts. Binge drinking certainly comes out with higher odds of online sportsbook use. Drug use, 132% higher odds. Being male, campus disconnection, although loneliness is not a significant predictor. And then childhood financial stress and well-being. So when you aggregate both males and females, a number of these topics come up, which are concerning for sure, and help us understand a little bit more about potentially digging into whether interventions around these areas can be helpful. And a little bit more about the codependence of these other behaviors. And here in Massachusetts, we delve a little deeper. With male students and cigarette users are most likely to feel betting controls their life, while mental health is the clearest predictor in difficulty setting limits. Here you see a 361% higher odds of a feeling, if you are a male, that betting can control your life, and also cigarette use. I want to note that it's not shown here, but we did also rerun the analysis on vaping, and it looks similar to cigarette use, although the magnitude is not nearly as high, about 90% higher odds. And I struggle to set limits on how much I bet. Having any mental health problem is certainly connected with that. And then you see here, essentially having current financial stress actually signals that they may not struggle to set limits on how much they bet. So that current in the moment impact on financial strain is actually giving them a pause to bet, or at least set limits on betting. So given that we only had 3 questions, that's, a summary of the important high-level results. Some key takeaways here is that there are gender differences in student betting risk, and the drivers or the predictors for men and women do differ, or males and females do differ. Again, not the headline I want to come out of this, but underage online sports betting does occur. And delving deeper into understanding a little bit more about where and how is really important. And then online sports books and student vulnerability is important. Online sports books are where student betting risk become more concentrated, and students using apps tend to be more behaviorally and emotionally vulnerable than those who bet without them. Betting control and limit setting struggles, we do see that there are some trends here. The first group is associated with a behavioral pattern. For example, cigarette users are more likely to feel that sports betting can control their life, whereas the second is associated with mental health challenges. So that's really all for the results from today. I just want to tee up a little bit more some specifics about the things that we're going to be looking at and some of the research questions that we're going to be investigating for as next steps. So the A1 survey that I mentioned earlier is readying to launch, hopefully by the end of this month, to 6,000 Massachusetts individuals, and we hope to get results on that within the next 10 weeks or so to start analyzing those results. And in year 2, we'll be back to present a little bit more about what we found with that one. Aim 2, I'm going to show you just briefly in a second some of the questions that we have. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but just to give you an idea as to what we're going to be asking specifically in the next round. And then we're going to be looking again at the gambling advertising as well as economic outcomes. So with that, I just want to show very quickly, and our appendix has all these data points. You're more than welcome to look through all the tables. I believe Dr. Andrews has shared the slide deck with the commissioners. But here are I'm sorry that it's a little small, but you can see the questions that we're going to be asking and a lot of the different topics that we're going to be asking about. Again, frequency, sports betting, alcohol and gambling, age at first gambled, person-assisted gambling, advertising exposure, et cetera, et cetera. So with that, I want to stop sharing and happy to open up the floor for questions.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hill.
So thank you very much. A great presentation, as I knew it would be. I've been looking forward to a lot of what we're going to see in the very near future from you folks. So something that I'm very interested in, and as well as my colleagues on the commission, is of course the underage betting issue. And I found it very interesting, and you said it in your end remarks. Where is it being done? And that's something that's really something that I care about because of where I live. You mentioned Rhode Island, but I live right next to New Hampshire. Yep. And it's a hop, skip, and a jump to go up to now 4 major, what I would call casinos, to bet. So it's going to be interesting to see where it is being done, is in fact looking at it is illegal if they go across. But what's interesting is, did you find, I know you're going to start looking into where it's being done, and that Rhode Island was something, but if they're doing it on their phones with the geofencing, they shouldn't be able to do it here in Massachusetts.
Well,
have you?
Sure, but the question that, yes, and you're correct. The question in our mind though is whether they're using someone else's app or login credentials to actually be accessing the apps.
So that was going to be my next question, is we're going to be looking into that with the questions, I assume.
We do have a question that is going to be looking at, have you ever used someone else's app, and basically someone else enabled you to do this thing? Because we do have some hypotheses just internally about whether either parents or friends who are older than 21 are enabling this type of behavior. And, just anecdotally speaking, we believe that is happening. The extent to which it is happening, we just don't know.
Okay. I'm going to be very interested in the next phase of this, because we think we know here at the commission where it's happening and who's enabling it. But if we could ever get it in black and white, boy, would that be helpful to us.
Commissioner Hill, thank you very much for your comments and your questions, and we'll be sure to look into that and report back when we're ready with some results.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. I see Commissioner Broders had his hand up, and then Commissioner O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris, just a couple questions. Hopefully on the basics. When you talk about advertising, can you give me a sense of what you mean? It's a simple or short answer. I assume we're hitting everything, meaning broadcast, social media, potentially influencers. Yeah, what is the definition of advertising you think you can realistically take a look at?
Sure. And I am going to ask if Professor Mata is on the line here. Is Matt here? All right. I don't know if he was able to make it today, but he's going to be leading that part of the study for us today. So do the best that I can. So we are looking at TV advertisements primarily, and all of the other advertisements that are included in the Media Radar data set that BU has access to. So Media Radar has a wonderful platform for tracking literally every TV commercial. Let's just stay there. TV advertisement that is placed right now and has been for more than a decade. So we have access to all of that information moving forward, and we're building an index including that both has tracking of those ads and where they're being placed, as well as we have a number of survey questions that we've added into our Massachusetts survey that are going to ask individuals about their recall about what they remember seeing on their advertisements, the messages that they've taken away, et cetera. So we're going to be blending these two, creating an index that helps us understand both the actual placement of the ads, but also what people are remembering and recalling from them. So that'll be a little bit more about content as well as the individual placement. And so we're looking forward to getting into that, looking forward to, even assessing, like, are the programs where advertising should be happening, are they actually happening in those places? And we have a way of doing that too. So I hope that at a high level answers your question.
It does. It's great. I mean, I'm glad you have access to those powerful tools. So that should yield some really good information for us. Second question is about the nature of the Massachusetts college and university pool. I don't need to necessarily know which colleges and universities those are, but you're confident that they cover a fairly broad demographic in terms of the college population overall. And in particular, I'm interested in any differences or challenges that might be reaching a commuting population versus an on-campus population.
Yeah, so great question, and thank you for asking that one. I would never call this a generalizable study. I think we have the largest nationally and in Massachusetts representative sample of we have the largest national sample of college students. Okay, within that, it changes year to year which colleges and universities participate. So I think it's important for us to really emphasize that we do believe we have community colleges in the sample. We do believe that we have four-year and graduate students in the sample. So that is our intent. That is what we are trying to do and build as diverse a sample as possible. I would stop short of calling it representative or generalizable, but at any point, we are happy to continue reaching out over the next several months, which we're going to do to our own contacts as well as to others to try to build the number of schools that participate. Now, within that, kind of the second piece of your question, we do know that we have coverage with students who are part-time, who are full-time, who are commuters, who are living on campus. So we have a good group of all of those individuals. And another thing that we're going to be doing in terms of the questioning of these students is that in some of the randomized questions that the students get from the Healthy Minds study, we are ensuring that there are questions about internet use, as well as class format, which tells whether they're taking classes online or in person or in hybrid format. So we're going to try to get a diverse group across all of those.
That's great here. One final question, I think, and that is in terms of the analysis and consideration of economic impacts. Do you anticipate trying to quantify or really hang a dollar figure on potential negative consequences of the industry and its, and its impact in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I have to be honest with you at this point and say that to the extent that I would be able to put a dollar amount on the negative consequences, I'm not ready to state that just yet. I do know that we are doing extensive economic analysis about the impact to the communities of these organizations in those local areas, whether there are new and emerging markets that are growing based on these organizations that are there. But at the same time, I'm not ready to commit to telling you that a number or something like that. But we're definitely looking into this from multiple angles and going to be interested in working with you and Mark and the team at the commission to try to come up with the analyses that best reflect, actionable decisions that you all can make from that.
No, the question wasn't a trap, and I appreciate your candor, because that is a much more challenging thing to do in certain respects, right? And any kind of indirect benefit or independent or indirect negative impact can be very, very hard to quantify or certainly hang a dollar figure on. So I appreciate the candor, and I'm sure my colleagues have additional questions. So thank you for your time with me.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Broder. Commissioner O'Brien.
Sure, thanks. I'm circling back somewhat to what Commissioner Hill said. And I know we as a commission have talked a lot about the need to educate, particularly people, older siblings, parents, aunts, uncles, et cetera, who might be enabling or proxy betting for these kids. And I think it would be fascinating to be able to use some of the stats you've had about impact and risk in that, sort of PSA education effort that we're hoping to get started. But one of the questions I'm wondering if you guys have or are going to get is age of entry when they're talking about doing online betting, not just the fact that they have done it under 21, because it seems to be that the younger you start, maybe the more of an impact or a risk you're going to have. And so to me, in terms of building out, what is it we want to be able to educate about? And that, there's a reason it's a higher age in 21 in particular in Massachusetts. So I don't know, when you do your survey and say, have you bet within the last year, is there a follow-up in terms of age at entry into the market?
Yeah, so we do have a specific question that asks them, at what age did you first bet? We do. And had we had more space in the survey, there's just limitations that the Healthy Minds survey gives. I would ask, okay, well, where was that?
Right, exactly.
Tell us how you learned about it. Exactly. I was just with Mark and some others in Toronto at a responsible gaming conference, and we're hearing stories about 10-year-olds getting linked, hooked into it through online, illegal sites, through through Roblox or other things too. So it's happening at early ages, and to the extent we can quantify it and understand at what age can we target interventions, and what age should those interventions be targeted? Is it middle school? Is it high school? Because to me, college, in a lot of senses, is actually too late. So we're on the same path as you are with this one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, anecdotally in my life, I can say that, I think even high school might be too late in terms of educating people on this. And there are lots of other avenues. So when you talk about internet use, kind of same follow-up questions is, do you deep dive into what it is in terms of, was it social casinos? Was it sweepstakes? Was it Roblox? Was it, there's lots of different avenues that are not betting sites that then expose or groom the individual into how to facilitate hopping on to bet. Do you guys do dives into that in terms of delineating what's the highest use on that?
Yes, we do have a question that asks, during the past 12 months, how often at all have you participated in each of the gambling behaviors? And we ask about lottery tickets, we ask about money gambled on sports, we ask about loot boxes, we ask about video games, we ask about, there are about 10 to 12 different options that we're covering there, including prediction markets and other types of things. So we're trying to get into the specifics of, just where their habits are, not necessarily connecting that to the first time I gambled, I did this, but recently you can, make some assumptions based on understanding where the bigger groups of their gambling patterns are.
Right. Great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next wave. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Brien. Any other questions, commissioners? I'll just note that I joined my fellow commissioners in their curiosity around this, and also reiterate my questions from earlier, and appreciate the work that you're doing on this.
Great. Thank you again, Commissioner Maynard, for allowing me to present some of this preliminary early pilot data. And we're looking forward to doing this more often over the course of the next couple of years. And I want to thank my team for attending today. I know that there's a number of them on there, as well as some of the advisory board members who are able to tune in today. So thank you all for the time. And thank you.
We appreciate it. The better information we have, the better we can do our jobs. So thank you. All right. With that, we're going to stick with Director Vander Linden. I believe that we're going to have a conversation about PlayWell.
That's correct. Good morning, Chair Maynard. Good morning, commissioners. We're moving over to a discussion of PlayWell, the fiscal year 26 third quarter. So it's a third quarter presentation about player health services. But it's the first quarter that we're beginning to introduce our transition from GameSense to PlayWell. And so you'll see that kind of throughout the presentation today. I'm going to turn it over to Michael Tuplin, who is the Chief Operating Officer of the Mass Council on Gaming and Health. He will kick it off for the council for this presentation, but he's also going to introduce the important team members that are doing this work every day. So, Michael, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and the commissioners, for having us here today. As Mark mentioned, my team and I will be presenting on FY26 Q3. Let me just pull up my slides here for you all. Let's see. Okay, just move that over. Great. As you can see, we've changed the palette as well, matching with our new PlayWell design that MGC has developed and created. So we have blue from green to blue, so you'll see that throughout the presentation. As you all know, today's May 7th, 2026. Moving along. So on the agenda today, we'll talk through our Q3 data highlights. We'll talk about March, which was Problem Gambling Awareness Month, and the work that we did honoring the month to help folks and patrons in the Commonwealth. We'll pivot over to our Champion Award winners for the quarter for each of the operator staffs. And we'll also talk just briefly about the PlayWell brand launch, which happened at the very end of Q3 on March 27th. But before doing so, I do have my team with me here today. So presenting today for the council and the PlayWell team, we have PlayWell manager at Encore Boston Harbor, Jason. We have PlayWell manager at Plainridge Park Casino, Joe. Myself, of course, and Ray, the director of PlayWell operations. So we'll each take different slide decks or slides here in the presentation today. Per usual, we also list our funders and present contracts here. That's been shared through the slide deck. I won't spend too much time here. We can always ask questions as needed. But let's dive into the nitty-gritty of this. So we'll start with the Q3 data highlights, talking through interactions, game line, and live chat, and then the VSE and reinstatements before we pivot to the rest of my team. Starting with interactions, the game line and the live chats as mentioned, and we are seeing a pretty steady state of 15,000 interactions. Again, through this quarter, we've been seeing that through fiscal year 2026 overall, with of note, this quarter having PGAM in March does increase, our numbers through a shorter month in February, which we usually see a dip. These interactions interactions, again, have been bolstered through the end of Q3 with our PlayWell launch and PGAM happening at the same time in the same month. March was actually our second highest month for the demonstrations and exchanges that our staff do, just behind RGEM in September. And those, of course, are our two larger months where we have a lot of activity going on and a lot of honoring of these two months to support our patrons. Discussions at the hubs, the new PlayWell hubs, centered around PlayWell predominantly, but also followed by positive play and budgeting. Interestingly, when we look at our live chat interactions that we do virtually, they trend a little bit differently, and they really focus more on VSE and reinstatement. Those two groups for our live chat typically make up about 70% in kind of offsetting what we're seeing here on the slide with our discussion topics in person. But it does make sense as we see a lot more folks coming from sportsbooks to reach out for support virtually versus in person, coming to the hubs to kind of chat with us and talk more about, again, budgeting, positive play, who we are as PlayWell now, which is excellent to see. In total, the PlayWell team saw 392 live chats this quarter, and we also received 228 Gamline phone calls, which is a steady increase from 194 early in the year in Q1, and then just over 200 in Q2. So we're seeing our call lines picking up a bit in frequency as we have moved through the quarter. Additionally, a focus point now that we're seeing a lot more live chats coming through and a lot more folks using that, MACGH has worked specifically with our PlayWell team on enhancing our PlayWell advisors in live chat and how to have more impactful conversations. This was achieved through doing a complete live chat refresher training for staff by our Director of Player Health, Amy Gabrilla, in partnership with our programs team. And also we are implementing a new program through Reflex AI that is a live chat AI platform that can kind of ingest conversations that you've had without retaining, PI or any specific data, and then give feedback based on parameters that we've established. This has been very helpful to kind of curate and train up our staff on nuances that we see in live chats and trends that we see for folks coming in, and giving our staff a little bit more confidence in responding to individuals that reach out to us through a chat medium. It's, I don't know if everyone has tried through, working through chats in the service perimeter, but it's very different than talking face-to-face, as we all know, phone calls, texting, and face-to-face conversation. So really happy to have this resource that we can now use to, make sure our staff are well trained in that area. Moving over to Q3 VSE and reinstatement and follow-ups data. So we have a chart here, our VSE enrollment types. For the quarter, we had 241 enrollments, which has seen, a trend of just increasing VSEs over time. The chart here, I think, and what I wanted to highlight as we look is we're seeing that remote, which is the lighter blue line. I probably should have made those a little more distinct, but the darker blue is in person and the lighter blue is remote. And we're actually seeing a lot more remotes coming through at a steady rate. As you can see, January and March, we had more remotes. Spoiler ahead of next quarter, but we also are seeing that in April. So we're seeing 3 out of 4 months now where remote VSEs are happening over in person, which has been a shift over the last few years. It's usually been, we've seen the gap shrink, but we've still seen VSE in persons kind of taking the lead for quite some time, and now we're starting to see that balance play out. Especially, January and March, we know are significant sports wagering months, college football, professional football, playoffs, March Madness, a lot of, sports happening in the spring and getting going. So we're noticing that as far as patrons of sportsbooks wanting to VSE for various terms. We also did complete 21, we do offer always VSE follow-ups to patrons who are enrolling in the program. So we have the peer program that does reach out via phone to follow up with folks, and then offer, services, telephone recovery services that can be ongoing, or local resources that they can use, meetings, providers, etc., something like that we could offset to them, or call lines that they can reach out to. We also saw that we had reinstatements were 93 comparative to other quarters. This is lower. Our peak quarter of reinstatements in this fiscal year was Q2. So last quarter it was 111 reinstatements. So almost a 20 amount different between the two quarters. And we just, we're really kind of focusing in on this shift and having, people reaching out to us in different ways. And I think that's really important, whether it's telephonic or live chat, that they're able to find us and still complete enrollment in the program, so they can support their own initiatives that are required. Switching over, so we're going to hone in on Problem Gambling Awareness Month, PGAM, and I am going to turn it over to Ray, our Director of PlayWell Operations.
Good morning, everyone. Problem Gambling Awareness is something that the PlayWell program does every day of the year. Day in, day out, these PlayWell advisors are always trying to seek out the players and find anything to make them more aware of what they could be having a problem with their gambling. Well, in March, we step it up a little bit because of National Problem Gambling Awareness Month. And the team was busy, and we conducted 14 different activities for patrons and casino staff for both front and back of the house. These activities generated 9,700 engagements across all three PlayWell Hub locations. And as you can see here, the council offers a wide variety of types, from interactive games like the slot machine simulator or Pick Your Bet and PGAM Peers, to seasonal activities focusing on baseball, March Madness, or the awareness-based for like Women's History Month and mental health awareness quizzes. These activities occurred at the PlayWell Hub locations, as well as in the month of March for PGAM. We partner up with the operators to get external tables, pop-up tables throughout the casino in high traffic locations. And in these high traffic locations, we held multiple times during the week, and we dedicated 474 hours of the PlayWell advisors' time to just doing the PGAM activities on these tables. The PlayWell team also offered high-end basket for raffling off to drive further engagement. This big basket attracts people to come over and see what it's about, and so we can have further conversations with the people. The entries for the baskets were 4,800 for the front of the house and 4,600 for the back of the house. Next slide, please. Thank you. Since 2014, Cambridge Health Alliance out of Hartford holds a National Gambling Screening Day, which is on the second Tuesday of March every year. These pre-screens are conducted and can help people decide whether to seek formal evaluation of the gambling behavior. The 3-item brief biosocial gambling screen is based on the DSM-5 criteria for gambling disorder. All the information is collected and is anonymous, but we provide it to the Cambridge Health Alliance to include in their national results. PlayWell team saw nearly 250 individuals actually take the screening and assessment, and our advisors also found 71 individuals that tested positive with at least one yes answer to one of the three questions. This doubles our numbers from last year, which I believe is because we were able to get out into the casino more with those table events and be out there, for longer periods of time. And when we find an individual that comes up with a positive screen, we can now offer them an opportunity to have a conversation with them and review resources so that they can make an informed decision on how to react and respond to positive screening. Next slide. Now, every quarter, we always work with the operators to find individuals of their team members that they stood out and did something special to help PlayWell advisors do their job. And I've had the pleasure to meet some of these recipients in the past. And every time I talk to them, the one common thing that they always talk about that they enjoy seeing out of the different things that we give them is a personalized handwritten note from our chair Maynard. That personal touch goes a long way to, making them feel like they're doing something special and able to help out where they can. So at MGM here, Aisha couldn't be here, so I'm standing in for her. Cody Callow from the security makes his rounds and always stops by the PlayWell Center. Hub now, I'm sorry, I got to get away from the center. So it's he'll come by, he'll talk to the advisors where he's always asking them questions about what the program is and how he can better help. And then he takes that information out to when he's working the podium over there, or walking the floor. And it always is directing the guests to come to the PlayWell Hub to, see the advisors, be able to talk to them, be able to take a break or actually engage in an activity. Then we got John Yallett from poker, who has many years experience in poker and has used that ability and his experience when he can see somebody struggling with their gambling. He has personally offered somebody the information about PlayWell to get them to come to the centers, and somebody could actually exclude if they wanted to. This is a valuable employee that goes above and beyond to try to help the PlayWell advisors do their job and be like a first responder for us. I'm going to turn it over to Jolene from PPC.
Thank you.
Thank you. So two of my people I want to take a moment to really recognize, and it kind of highlights and reminds us why we do what we do and what we do here actually works. So the first person is going to be Fonda Honeycutt. She works in the slot department. She's been a team member here for quite some time now, and she does a lot of work with us as it is. But she was doing her usual rounds on the floor, and a guest came up to her, not really to report a problem, but they just wanted to talk. And the reason the guest felt comfortable is because Fonda has spent time building that relationship with her. Over time, the guest was comfortable enough to share that gambling was starting to take over her life and that the stress was kind of building up and things were getting really, really hard for them. Fonda didn't ignore it. She didn't brush past it. She didn't just push him over to PlayWell. She escorted them over here. While she was escorting him, obviously she was telling him about the whole program, what a VSE is and what it involves. And so by the time the guest came in here, the guest felt more comfortable and was a little bit more educated than sometimes people are. And I really, that's a testament to Fonda and actually, taking that time to learn about her program and really retaining it. And then the next person is going to be Bethany Cordier. She's in security. She's actually no longer here. She just resigned on May 4th to move on as an EMT. But Bethany had built kind of the same kind of trust as Fonda and built a really strong relationship, and also, had the initiative to learn about what we do. Bethany escorted a guest over here as well. The guest was really, really comfortable with Bethany, and still really uncomfortable being here alone. So Bethany actually stayed with her while the VSE was conducted on the guest request. And she brought her to the hub herself, helped walk her through the whole process and helped make her understand everything. And she was just someone that really understood what it needs to mean to have a steady hand and to actually care. They knew what to do, and they knew what to say, and they knew how to make that guest feel like help was actually possible here. That's really a testament to us as staff, educating the people at the casino, and really trying to highlight what we do and reinforce that education instead of just a one-off in a new hire orientation. We really try to be boots on the ground and build that relationship with team members, and they pass it down to the patrons. And like I said, our advisors here try to be as present as they can, but we can't be everywhere all at once. So it's really important that we educate those team members so that they can really meet people halfway. They're the ones that tend to build the relationships even stronger than we can build them. So it's really grateful for the Plain Ridge Park team, but I'm also grateful for the PlayWell team and everything we do, taking part in that and really trying to build that relationship because it's super important. And that's it.
Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
And we will now pivot over to Jason at EBH. There he is, right on the screen. Thanks, Jason.
I agree with Joe. These relationships we build are so important with the casino team members. Today, I'd like to highlight Jerry Salas from Win Rewards. He's a strong supporter of the PlayWell program. He consistently helps guests with our team when we have questions or concerns related to gambling. He's recently helped us get some player cards for the visit for MGC to show about the Play My Way program. The second one we have is Laquan Nasheen, Security. Is a new member of the security team. He shared how much he appreciated PlayWell exists to support healthy play for guests. He didn't know there was programs like this inside the casino, on the casino floor. That just blew him away. And again, for those of you who know, at EBH, security in the East Lobby has a podium right in front of us where they check players in. So he was, blown away by this program that, Massachusetts has. Us on the floor, walking around, helping people with responsible gambling. And he's very interested in learning to support the program, and he's truly appreciated for it. So thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And just to wrap up, as Mark had mentioned earlier, and maybe I should have moved this slide to the front, but we did in this quarter say farewell to GameSense, the era of GameSense, and on March 27th, pivoted over to the new PlayWell brand here and kind of ushered in a new era with a very exciting launch day. And I just wanted to highlight some of these fantastic things that happened on March 27th, where we had each casino, each location had a launch event throughout the entire day. So we worked through that whole Friday. We had Mr. Chairman, the commissioners at each location who all spoke and offered words of encouragement in ushering in this new era. We also had words from MGC staff and Mark specifically, and Marlene here at the council also spoke, which was great to, a group of patrons and staff, and the operator employees were also there and shared words and sentiments to the collaboration that happens, as Joe and Jason so eloquently put, between PlayWell and the operator staff. So what a fun day. There were decorations, refreshments, cookies, activities. You see here on the bottom right, Aisha, who couldn't join us today, but we have our activities up on the screen, and our swag wheel. We had elevated swag and new PlayWell swag to draw in more patrons and celebrate. Just a very fun day, a very busy day, and welcoming of all this great work we did through February and March to launch PlayWell. And I did want to offer thank you to all of those here on the call that worked so hard to have the launch day a success, as well as just acknowledge all those folks that worked behind the scenes to make sure not only launch day, but the entire PlayWell brand has been successful. I know Mark has talked through this through another meeting, but I just wanted to again offer from the council side just a huge thank you to making this a success. So I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And that wraps up our presentation. So any questions? But that is it.
Thank you so much, commissioners. Questions or comments? We can take that down so I can see.
Yes.
Commissioner Broder threw me earlier with the hand. So, I'll just take this time to say we appreciate all the hard work. We're excited about PlayWell and the opportunity that it brings for us to do better and continue to advance in the work that we do. And so thank you all to what you're doing. And it was great being out there to do those launch dates. And I appreciate my fellow commissioners for blanketing the state and making sure that we got coverage at every casino. So we appreciate that. Commissioner Hill.
Mr. Chairman, this is for our friends out in Springfield. So I had met with Amy that day that we kicked off PlayWell. And as has been the case with you, Mr. Chairman, with your Kentucky basketball, which I now follow religiously because we're buddies, because I'm buddies with Amy, she got me involved with watching the Oakland Athletics. And this year they're actually in first place, which they have not been for quite some time. So I was hoping she was going to be on today so I could harass her, but she's got me watching the Athletics, and I'm hooked. And now I see they're in first place for the first time in a long time. So give her my love for her athletics that she loves so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's awesome. Any other comments, questions? Anything to add, Director Van der Linden? I see your mute is on.
No, I think it's covered. Thank you, Chair.
Well, thank you to the council, and we want to stress to everyone to check out PlayWell. All right.
Thank you.
With that, we're going to turn it over to item number 4, and then we'll probably do a brief break after that, commissioners. We'll kick it over to Chief Lennon, though. Good morning still.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. It's always tough to follow up the Research and Responsible Gaming Group, especially when we're doing a quarterly budget update. But we'll do our best here to keep you engaged, and I know we're keeping you from a break. So I'm joined by Douglas O'Donnell, John Scully, and we're here to present to you the MGC's third quarterly budget update. The report begins on page 62 of the public packet. The MGC approved an FY26 budget of $63.96 million for gaming, racing, community mitigation, sports wagering, and research and responsible gaming operations. After the first 2 quarters of the fiscal year, we made budget neutral adjustments to payroll and IT categories to account for an extension to the central monitoring system contract. In this quarter's update, we are not recommending any changes. However, we do want to give you an overview of our three main operational accounts and where we stand with those. The Gaming Control Fund has an operational budget, has an approved budget of $40.8 million. Through 3 quarters, we have collected $32.56 million in fees and assessments, which is approximately 80% of the fund's budget. We've spent 67% of that budget. We do have some areas where we need to make adjustments in the fourth quarter. Having moved to a new accounting system in February has brought some challenges to us, and we do have to make adjustments to payroll to align actual costs with budgeted allocations. Moving on to the Racing Oversight Trust Fund, it has an approved budget of $2.08 million. Through 3 quarters, we've collected 72.34% of the funds anticipated, and expended 60% of the anticipated budget. We'll continue to monitor this fund for any necessary adjustments that may arise as a result of the temporary closing of Rainham Taunton Greyhound Park and any revenue that may cause in shortfalls. The third and final fund we'd like to give an update on is the Sports Wagering Control Fund. This fund has an approved budget of $13.89 million. Through 3 quarters, we've collected 75% of the anticipated revenue, and we've spent 44% of the total budget. Most of the underspending in this appropriation has to do with payroll adjustments that need to be made to align with actual costs, and underspending of our consultants helping with the vendor suitability licenses, which we reported in the second quarter update. At this time, we do not recommend making any additional adjustments to the budget, and we in finance will continue to work on aligning our actual costs to budget allocation. So by the close of the fiscal year, we will have our payroll aligned to where it should be. And that's a conclusion of our report.
Thank you, Chief Lennon. And a thank you to Commissioner Skinner in her role as treasurer, and as well as to your entire team. Commissioners, questions, comments? All right. Well, I don't think we need to do anything here, right? No formal vote or anything?
No vote needed, just an update.
All right. Well, thank you for that update. We appreciate it. Commissioners, I know we have the next item is going to be Chief Teresi. Can we do a 5-minute break? All right, let's do that. Well, let's get back in by 11:20 if we can. Thank you. I'm being Thank you, Connor. Good morning still. This is a reconvening of the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. We're holding this meeting virtually, so we will do a roll call. Good morning, Commissioner O'Brien.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning, Commissioner Hill.
Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner Skinner.
Good morning again.
And good morning again, Commissioner Broder.
Good morning, still here.
All right, so we are going to kick it off with Chief Teresi of the Sports Wagering Division. I think we have several items. Good morning, Chief Teresi.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Yes, for our first item, I will turn it over to Compliance and Operations Manager Stefan.
Thanks, Carrie. Good morning, Commissioners. Beginning on page 69 of your packet is a request from MGM Springfield to pay out lost sports wagering tickets under 205 CMR 238.47(1)B. As you may recall, the regulation generally prohibits payment without a physical ticket. However, it does allow the Commission to authorize payment when the operator demonstrates the claim is valid and there are no fraud, duplication, or integrity concerns. On April 21st, MGM Springfield submitted a request covering 6 tickets across 5 individual patrons. You can see the amounts to collect there in your memo. However, for each ticket, MGM did verify through their internal systems, including their surveillance system on site, that the wagers were valid, resulted in winning outcomes, had not yet been redeemed, and showed no indicators of fraud or conflicting claims. MGM Springfield also provided supporting documentation, which we reviewed thoroughly and found it consistent with the regulatory requirements, claims, and requests. Based on that review, we are recommending approval of all 6 ticket requests today. And that concludes the review of this item. Happy to take any questions. Chair.
Commissioners, questions for Andrew?
Mr. Chairman, no questions, but I'm prepared to make a motion, given that we discussed a similar issue in the fairly recent past.
Mr. Chairman?
Commissioner Hill.
Please excuse me, Commissioner Broder, but I do have just a very quick question. For a long time, these never came before us. Now, all of a sudden, this is the second time in just a few weeks. Is something happening that we're not aware of or have just been made aware of that these are coming before us a little bit more frequently?
Commissioner Hale, it was simply just a misunderstanding of the regulation requirement, and we have since clarified that with MGM.
Excellent. That was all I needed to know. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner Broder.
Of course.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Broder, I think that the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Commission approve MGM Springfield's request to pay the 5 patrons for their 6 lost sports wagering tickets pursuant to 205 CMR 238.47(1)B, as included in the Commissioner's packet and discussed here today.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Commissioners. Next, we have some house rules for you. I will turn it over to Compliance Officer Brittany Costello.
Thanks, Carrie. Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Today, I have proposed updates to BetMGM and MGM Springfield Sportsbook house rules for your consideration. You'll find the memo regarding these changes on page 72 of your packet, and the red line copies begin on page 74. As noted in the memo, some of the proposed changes impact both the BetMGM online sportsbook and the retail sportsbook at MGM Springfield, while a few changes only impact the BetMGM online sportsbook because the involved markets aren't offered in the retail setting. So that's why we have two sets of house rules for your approval today. The changes that impact both the online operator and the retail location are as follows. First, in the management rules section, the email address for customer complaints has been updated. Next, in the general sportsbook rules, as you'll see on page 74, language is added to discuss the settlement of outright markets if the winner is a prohibited athlete who is not offered for wagering per the MGC's catalog. In these cases, if the prohibited athlete is the winner of the market, all wagers on the market are made void. In baseball, also on page 74, the settlement of wagers for games ending due to a league's mercy rule is clarified, in which wagers on the money line, run line, and winning margins will be settled as determined by the end of the game, and totals in other prop markets will be void unless they have been unconditionally determined. Also, for collegiate games played at a neutral venue, it's clarified that the home away designation on the sportsbook platform is for display purposes only, and the home away designation used on the field will be used for wager settlement. In bull riding on page 75, there is a typographical fix. Just the word within was supposed to be within, it was written as with, so they fixed that. Similarly, on page 75, the rules for tennis include a typographical fix for the word players with the S in parentheses. That's being fixed. A few additional changes only impact the BetMGM online sportsbook house rules as they're not offered in the retail book. So these changes impact darts, mixed martial arts, table tennis, and tennis. And as seen on page 76 through 78, new language is added clarifying the rules for the same game parlay plus wagers, where a leg of an involved same game parlay is voided. In that case, all of the legs of that component same game parlay will be void, and the rest of the wager will be recalculated and settled without that same game parlay as a process, as a part of it. And then finally, in basketball and soccer, the rules for same game parlay wagers for postponed or relocated games are removed to ensure that all wagers are settled the same, whether they are placed as straight wagers or part of a same game parlay. Today, we are joined by Zach Kraus of BetMGM, who can answer any questions if the commissioners have some questions for BetMGM. But overall, the Sports Wagering Division has reviewed the changes and finds them to meet all the requirements under 205 CMR 24702 and are consistent with the language used by other sportsbooks, so we can recommend approval of the proposed changes today.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions, comments? Commissioner Broder?
Nope.
A lot of people bet on bull riding. Zach?
I can't say a ton, but people certainly do. So,
Mr. Chairman, come to the Topsfield Fair when they're doing the bull riding and things, and it's quite exciting, and people really get into it.
Well, that's you learn something new every day. All right. If there are no questions, I believe it's marked up for a vote.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hill.
I move that the commission approve the updates to MGM Springfield's house rules as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today. And I further move that the commission approve the updates to BetMGM's house rules as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
I vote yes, 5-0. All right, I think we're sticking with you, right, Brittany?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Next.
Oh, the next one then. All right.
Yes, for the next set, you are moving on to Tom.
Thank
Good
you.
morning. Good morning, Chair Maynard and Commissioners. FanDuel submitted a single change in their house rules, where you can find on page 79 of your packet, in accordance with the recently amended regulation for 205 CMR 247.07 and 205 CMR 248.10. FanDuel removed MasterCard and Visa logo gift cards as a funding option. This change addresses the potential loophole involved in the indirect use of credit cards through MasterCard and Visa gift cards for sports wagering, and brings FanDuel into compliance with the updated regulation. The Sports Wagering Division confirms FanDuel's compliance and recommends approval of the single rule change today. Chair?
Thank you, Tom. Commissioners, questions for Tom? Right. It is marked up for a vote.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Hill.
I move that the commission approve the updates to FanDuel's house rules as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today.
Second. Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder. I vote yes, 5-0. All
And
right.
thank you again, Chair Maynard. Will be sticking with me for the last sports wagering item. Turning to page 81 of your meeting packet, we received a temporary waiver request from 5 operators: BetMGM, Caesars, DraftKings, Fanatics, and FanDuel. These requests relate to the amended regulations of 205 CMR 247.07 and 205 CMR 248.10. The amended regulations were approved by the Commission on April 9th of 2026 and became effective on April 24th of 2026. Currently, all sports wagering operators have discontinued the use of prepaid instruments that can be funded by credit cards for sports wagering and are currently in compliance with the core prohibition. However, the following 5 operators are requesting additional time to complete the technical and developmental work needed to fully implement the requirement to segregate funds originating from these prohibited methods in other jurisdictions from Massachusetts wallets. Their requested extension periods vary from 1 to 6 months, where you can find each operator's specific request starting on page 82 of your packet. The Sports Wagering Division has reviewed all waiver requests and find them reasonable given the ongoing technical work required for compliance. We have representatives from all 5 operators on the call here today to help answer any of your questions. Accordingly, we recommend approval of each waiver request based on the timeframe submitted by each sports wagering operator. Alternatively, if the Commission prefers a standardized approach, it may establish a uniform extension period applicable to all operators. Chair.
Thank you, Tom. Commissioners.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Hill.
So I like the proposal that Tom just made at the end of his presentation, where I'd like to give everybody 90 days. Everybody 90 days. And if you can't get it done within 90 days, come back to us, tell us why, and then we can, look at it at that time if we want to expand the dates for another month or 2. So that would be my suggestion to the Commission.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Broder, I see your mute is off.
That works for me. I agree with my colleague.
Same.
All right, Commissioner O'Brien. Yeah, we have dates ranging between summer, this month.
Right, anywhere from like
And,
1 month to 6.
Yeah, I was just looking. There's 3 that I would call summer because they're before Labor Day, and 2 after Labor Day. That's the way I would put it. So yeah, if those 2 that can't get it, 2 to 3 can't get it done, maybe they come back. So I'm okay with that.
90 days would be August 8th.
Yeah, do we do September 1?
That would
Like
make sure that at least FanDuel, yeah.
And then you've got 2 outliers that hopefully, get it done or can come back in August and explain if they're not ready.
I have to pull up my
That'd be fine with me, Mr. Chairman.
It's a Tuesday, September 1st is. So I'm good with that.
Mr. Chairman, I could make a motion. That would be a very big motion, or we could do them separately. I would leave that up to my fellow commissioners on how they would like to address these.
We could do one.
Could you do one? We can do one omnibus motion, yeah.
Yeah, we could do one.
Given that we're taking one day, one motion should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that we could do one motion and just name all the entities that have requested it, so that you name all the folks that are listed, and that the time waiver requested will be through September 1st, 2026.
Yeah, I'm happy to move one omnibus motion if we're ready. Yeah.
I think I'm ready. I'll just say any other further comments? I know the operators are on. Anything else before we?
Not at this time.
All right. Commissioner O'Brien.
All right. I move that in accordance with 205 CMR 202.032, the commission issue temporary waivers to BetMGM, Caesars, DraftKings, FanDuel, and Fanatics through September 1, 2026, from the requirements of 205 CMR 247.07 and 205 CMR 248.1, as included in the commissioner's packet, as included in the commissioner's packet and discussed here today, as granting the waiver meets the requirements specified in 205 CMR 102.034 and is consistent with the purposes of general laws, chapter 23N.
Second.
Thank you. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. All right. So to Fanatics and BetMGM, if you need more time or have any hiccups, work with Sports Wagering and they'll get that information in front of us. Okay. Anything else, Chief Teresi?
That's all from Sports Wagering today. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that and your work on that. See, we're going to move to item number 6, but before we do, I want to take a moment to offer condolences to our partners at the Massachusetts State Police, especially the members of the Gaming Enforcement Unit who serve alongside with the Commission every day. As many as you know, the Commonwealth lost Trooper Kevin Trainer yesterday in a tragic line of duty accident. It's a profound loss for the Commonwealth and the many at the state police and local law enforcement officers who work with us every day in Boston and Massachusetts and our casino properties as part of the Gaming Enforcement Unit. Our GEU staff are part of the MGC family, and we mourn this loss with them. I want to thank the members of the GEU for their service to the Commonwealth and the Commission. We don't say it enough, but by virtue of the oath they took, these men and women are always prepared to put themselves in harm's way for the service of others. I spoke with Lieutenant Collette this morning, and conveyed on behalf of the commissioners and staff our condolences and our gratitude for everything that they do. Please join me in keeping Trooper Trainer, his loved ones, and our GEU colleagues in your thoughts and prayers today. With that, anything to add? Anything anyone would like to say? Thank you. Thank you, Dave, for being here. All right. Let's go to item A. With that, now I'll turn it over to Director Monahan.
Thank you, Chair. We have two matters for the commission today. The first is a briefing on a non-compliance matter related to sports wagering for the commission's determination on next steps. And for that, I will turn it over to Enforcement Counsel Franks.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. This alleged non-compliance incident involves Category 3 sports wagering operator Caesars Sportsbook and implicates General Law, Chapter 23N, Section 3, 205 CMR 247.012A2, and the Massachusetts Sports Wagering Catalog, which prohibit allowing wagers on unapproved events. Caesars offered wagering on a Northeastern men's baseball versus Grand Canyon NCAA game scheduled for February 13th, 2026. The noncompliance lasted from February 12th, 2026 through February 13th, 2026. During this time frame, Caesars accepted 5 wagers for a total stake of $48. The offering was discovered during a routine trading compliance audit before the start of the game. It was taken down and all wagers were voided and the stake returned to patron accounts before the start of the game. At this point, I'm happy to take any questions, and I'd ask the commission its preference for next steps as to how to handle this noncompliance. Just as a reminder, the options are to refer it back to the IEB, set it up for an adjudicatory hearing, or to issue a civil administrative penalty under Chapter 23N, Section 16.
I have a question. Do you have any sense of what caused them to do that? We've had not necessarily the Caesars, but we've had a number of operators that do this, right? So any idea what the cause of this was?
Yeah, essentially there was an error in the filtering script for Massachusetts. And so Northeastern was accidentally included twice, one with the team name of Huskies and one without. So the one with Huskies was properly filtered off, but since it was accidentally mapped twice, the second one was not filtered off. But it was caught during a routine audit before the game actually occurred.
Is that a vendor error or a Caesars internal?
It was an individual trader error.
Inside Caesars?
Yes.
Okay. I don't love these because they keep happening and I'd love to not see them anymore. But given the size of it, I would refer it back to IEB. That would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Brien. Commissioner Hill's a yes.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I agree with everything Commissioner O'Brien said. It is kind of a mystery why these are not huge things, right? And we want to keep the context. But it does seem kind of crazy that these things keep happening on occasion. This seems like it would be a very easy thing to prevent. I mean, the system worked to a certain degree, it got pulled down, but these things shouldn't happen. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we've learned over the years on these that there's some human toggling to meet the Massachusetts requirements, but to your point, it shouldn't happen at all. Commissioner Skinner, just checking in.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Maybe at some point, since we have been discussing how to reformat, if you will, the quarterly reports. I guess they're now triannual. Perhaps one of the items can focus on each of the operators' processes as to how they filter out events that are not authorized in Massachusetts. Maybe, for the focus of one such tri-annual meeting, we could kind of flesh that out a little bit, but I defer to the sports wagering team as to how that would work, whether it's part of the triannual reports or whether it's a standalone item. I think it makes sense to just try to dig deeper into why this keeps happening.
Always good to learn more, Commissioner Skinner. All right. It's not marked up for a vote. So do you have what you need, Counselor?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. What's the next item?
All right, our next item is a discussion and review of the IEB's proposed attestation regarding illegal gaming and sports wagering, and for that, we are requesting an executive session.
All right, so I'll read some language in and we'll move on from there. The commission anticipates that it will meet in executive session pursuant to General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21A7, and General Law, Chapter 4, Section 726D, to discuss policy positions being developed by the commission in connection with gaming and sports wagering operator applications for or renewals of licensure related to an attestation regarding illegal gaming and sports wagering. Would we like to enter into executive session to discuss this matter?
Move we go into executive session on the matter and for the reasons just stated by the chair.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Say, that's going to Commissioner Hill because his mic was on. All right. I think we'll be moved over into the room.
Just do a roll call.
Get a vote.
Chair.
Vote.
Oh, sorry about
to go
that.
into executive session. Sorry.
I have so much anxiety around this new system of being moved over that I forgot to do the roll call. Commissioner O'Brien. Commissioner O'Brien. Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder. And I vote yes, 5-0. Thank you. Thank you, Kevin, for saving me there. Thank you, Connor. We just finished a robust discussion, but we do have to take our vote in public. And so with that, commissioners, I turn the floor over to you for a motion.
I move that the commission approve the Investigation Enforcement Bureau's proposed attestation regarding illegal gaming and sports wagering as discussed here today. And
Thank you.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. I'm going to give that one to Commissioner Skinner because I know she worked on this a lot. Sorry, commissioners. I heard it differently. All right, Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. All right.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Let's go to item number 7. And for that, we're going to turn it over to the General Counsel, Kevin Scanlon, and his team.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good afternoon. We have 2 regulations before the Commission today. More housekeeping matters, but I will turn it over to Deputy General Counsel Jenna Hentoff for presentation.
Thank you, Kevin. Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. As Kevin just noted, I'm here to present to you 2 regulations for approval for final promulgation. Those would be 205 CMR 133.02, which relates to placement of an individual on the voluntary self-exclusion list, and 205 CMR 147.03, which relates to notice and access by patrons to table games rules. You will find materials, including a memo, red lines of both proposed amendments and amended small business impact statements for both regulations, beginning on page 95 of your packet. And as a review, these amendments were made to the regulations to remove direct references to the Commission's former responsible gaming program, GameSense, and replace those references with more general references to a player health advisor and a player health resource and information center. These regulations were previously brought before you for initial promulgation on March 12th, 2026, after which it went out for public comment. A public hearing was held on April 21st, 2026, and no comments were received. Therefore, no changes have been made to these drafts. So today, again, I present to you these regulations for final approval, and if you have any questions, I'm, of course, happy to answer them. Thank you. I think you're muted, Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, Council Hentoff. Commissioners, questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'm ready with the motion if there's no further discussion.
I think the floor is yours.
I move that the Commission approve the amended small business impact statement in the draft of 205 CMR 133.02 as included in the Commissioner's packet and discussed here today, and further that staff be authorized to take steps necessary to file the required documentation with the Secretary of the Commonwealth to finalize the regulation promulgation process.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Brien. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. All right. I think we're sticking with you, Jenna.
Yes, the next item on the agenda is a request to enter executive session to review some executive session minute sets.
All right, gotcha. All right. So let me read the language in. The Commission anticipates that it will meet in executive session to review minutes from previous executive sessions, as their discussion at an open meeting may frustrate the purpose for which the executive session was convened pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, March 27th, 2025, January 15th, 2026, and February 20th, 2026, and General Law, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A3, 4, and 7, and Chapter 4, Sections 726D and F, December 18th, 2025, General Law, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A3 and 7, Chapter 23N, Section 6I, and Chapter 4, Sections 726C and N, February 12th, 2026. I realized I messed something else up today.
Mr. Chair, yeah, I was going to say we need a vote, I think, on
Yeah.
205 CMR 147.03.
Yep.
Sorry about that. My brain's a little fuzzy this week. I've been sick, so thank you for catching that.
I realized that as I was talking. So let's do a vote. Let's see if we have a motion on 147.03. Then we're going to do commissioner updates and other business. And then I'm going to refer back to what I just read,
that.
and we're going to take a motion on
And then
that.
not have to come back in.
How do we sound about that? All right. How do we feel about that? All right. 205 CMR 147.03.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Broder.
I move that the commission approve the amended small business impact statement and the draft of 205 CMR 147.03 as included in this commissioner's packet and discussed here today. And further, that the staff be authorized to take the steps necessary to file the required documentation with Secretary of the Commonwealth, William Francis Galvin, to finalize the regulation promulgation process.
Second, I like your sneaking in your trivia knowledge there.
All right. With that one, Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
And Commissioner Broder.
Yes.
And I vote yes, 5-0. All right. So before I refer back to that C, any commissioner updates?
I do. I think Commissioner Skinner and I wanted to talk about IMGL. Commissioner Skinner, I know it's harder for you to jump in, so I don't know if you wanted to go first or should I just go?
Please go ahead.
So Commissioner Skinner and I were down at IMGL in DC last week. Really great conference. I think we each take different things out of it, but two things I wanted to bring up, and then I've spoken to some staff and I want to circle back to get things on the agenda, but one of them was what Michigan is doing in terms of sort of PSA and education that they're going to be kicking out. It's similar to what we have been talking about. I think they're hoping to get it out in terms of FIFA. I was going to reach out to Michigan, get more specific details about it, but it's very much in line with what we've all talked about. And then a fascinating topic about what's happening in the international market and particularly in the European Union when it comes to AI and affiliate marketing and influencer sort of advertising and marketing. And they have some statutes about AI that have come out in the EU that I think are going to be worth looking at. And then they have different treatments for how they deal with influencers, particularly influencers who have substantial, and I mean in the millions of followers on one or more platforms, which I actually want to talk to IB and sports wagering about looking into here. We've had amendments to our regs where influencers, can go on the floors of the brick and mortar and not live stream in the moment, but then can put out content about that. And we have some guardrails and requirements and attestations that go along with their conduct. It's a question of whether we want to ratchet up licensing or anything else on some of those people. But Commissioner Skinner, I'll defer to you on what you wanted to bring, but I know she and I both felt like a conference worth bringing back some substantive meat to the commission.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add to that, Commissioner O'Brien. This ties into what we heard around the PSA campaign, but closer to home, coming out of our conversations or regular meetings with the AG's office, they are interested in putting out a PSA around the World Cup. They have asked that the commission engage with them on that, partner with them on that, as well as the treasurer's office. So looking forward to really having our team dig into that and you really using that as a launching pad, so to speak, of, the work that I think we can do along those lines, with really just trying to educate the public around first what it is we do, what our role is in their favor, but then also to make sure that, as we've been saying, that when they are betting, that they are betting on legal sites, that they're looking for the commission's seal of approval, and really just how to stay responsible, stay safe when they're engaging in wagering.
Thank you. I think Commissioner Broder had something earlier too.
I'm all set, Mr. Chairman. Well, actually, on the topic, just that if we're going to do that, we need to hit the gas pedal, because the World Cup, I think, starts in around June 10th or June 11th. So
I see ED Serpa's mute is off.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick update. We've had touches of this conversation in prior calls, and I just wanted to let everyone know that Tom Mills, Mark Vanderlyn, and I had a few discussions, and we've actually already asked for a proposal from our partner at Jackrabbit to put some clear messaging about the illegal markets and the seal of approval and a plan together for some activity prior to World Cup, and then even following along after that, a more regular plan on an annual basis. We've gotten some preliminary information back from them, but not specifics, but we're expecting that within the next week or so. And so we can have an update for you once we sift through that. And I do know we've reached out to the Attorney General's office to try and connect on that one topic, because I had received that message from some of the legal staff to make sure that we're coordinated with the effort that they want to put together leading up to the World Cup. So we are we're turning the shovel over on this and trying to move forward.
Perfect. Thank you, ED Serpa, and happy that we're going to be able to work with our partners at the Attorney General's office, Treasurer's office, as Commissioner Skinner just brought up, and I know the Governor's office is also interested. So look forward to it, and I want to remind everyone that the only place that you should be betting if you choose to make a wager is the legal regulated market in Massachusetts. All right, do we have any other business that we didn't anticipate? All right, so I'm going to refer back to CI under the last page of the packet. I read that earlier, with that range of dates between March 27th, 2025 to February 20th, 2026. Would we like to enter into executive session referencing back that language I read earlier?
Move we go into executive session on the minutes and for the reasons stated by the chair earlier.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Commissioner O'Brien.
Aye.
Commissioner Hill.
Aye.
Commissioner Skinner.
Aye.
Commissioner Broder. Yes. And I vote yes, 5-0. We will not be returning into this session into public. So we wish everyone a good day and enjoy some of the sunshine.